Hi everybody. Today we have something very special, very unique, very something I hold in very high value in my collection. This is the Pink Panther Bendy toy featured in the first ever episode of Mr. Bean, The Exam. It's one of the first props used by Rowan Atkinson in this show, and it's something that I love very, 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 very much. This is the show I grew up with. This is an episode I watched over and over and over again. This itself is not a screen-used piece. This is not the one, this is just one of them. So here's the actual toy itself. Very brittle, fragile condition. But for the age of this thing, made it back in 1984. Let's see, 1984, United Artists Corps, Bendy. That was the brand of this toy line, Bendy. I'm not sure how many they made exactly. I'm not sure if there were multiple runs of this type of toy, or this same toy, but all I know is that this one came from 1984, or was produced in 1984. It's got some yellowing on there where the foam is starting to show through, but I think the paint, the overall pink paint, is definitely helped in keeping this thing in one piece. Now, one thing I'd love to know is how this thing stayed in such good condition over the past nearly 40 years. Nearly 40 years now. I can't imagine. I can't imagine what the story is behind this. And it's still cushy too, you know? It's still got some cushion there. So it's not all fragile, but you know, it's the type of thing you just sit down and, you know, preferably behind a UV protected case, because sunlight does damage foam latex. So leaving this out in a sunlight exposed room is not a good idea at all. And no, I'm not going to bend the tail upwards like he does in the show, because again, that would just destroy the entire tail and the foam would just come crumbling to pieces. But I'm sure it's probably not too hard to imagine that happening with this toy. There have been many Pink Panther bendable toys that have been released over the years, but this is only one of two that have ever been created in foam latex. I think for that very reason, it's foam latex and it's just completely unreliable. It falls apart very easily. I think it's a miracle this thing has survived as long as it has. These things, when they come up, they don't stick around long. And it's one of those things that comes up, they're really, really rare, but when they do pop up, they're usually not that expensive. Not as expensive as you'd think, being that it's a toy from the show. But yeah, the main complication with this piece is just how hard it is to find, because they were only ever produced in the UK, and the fact that, you know, they're toys and they weren't meant to be displayed or collected. They're meant to be played with, and when they're played with, they get torn up and, you know, they get thrown out. These things are definitely not made with you know, high quality materials. It's just foam rubber painted. You can even see the mold line on there, on the feet also, where they injected it into the mold. They pulled it out, slapped some paint on it, injected some little whiskers into his muzzle there, put it in a box and put it on the shelf. It's about the size of a G.I. Joe, which kind of makes it special to me because I love big toys. I've actually got a G.I. Joe right here I can line it up against. Here he is. America, America. Not gonna lie, this thing kind of has a really creepy expression on his face. It's kind of like this weird, kind of morbidly pleased expression he has. He's got a little smile going on there. His eyebrows are raised and his eyelids are like half asleep. It's like he's, you know, watching Frasier at like 3 o'clock in the morning or something. I'm not sure. It's in really delicate condition. He still has some sponginess left in him, but he has no bendability left. Simply for the fact that, you know, his limbs are kind of rotted inside, as you can see, and to bend any limb on this thing, or just bend any part of this toy, would be a complete failure on my part as a collector. That's just about it though. If you like this video, make sure to go check out my other stuff. Other than that, I'll see you later.